Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are diving into a story that has shaken the United States and sparked fierce conversations across politics, the media, and everyday households. It is the story of Charlie Kirk, a prominent conservative activist who was tragically killed while on one of his signature college speaking tours. The news has left many shocked, many angry, and many asking how this could have happened and what it means for the future of political discourse in America. But before we move deeper into the story, let me ask you something important. If you haven't already, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Your support helps us bring these stories directly to you with clarity, balance, and detail. And I also want to remind you to stick with us till the very end of this video, because the layers of this story go far deeper than the first headlines you may have seen. By the end, you'll have a complete picture, from the suspect's background, to the online culture he immersed himself in, to the way Charlie Kirk's supporters are now rallying to preserve his legacy. Let's begin with what happened. Charlie Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA, had built a reputation over the past decade as one of the most influential conservative voices among young people. He was known for his fiery speeches on campuses, where he regularly challenged progressive ideas and defended conservative values, particularly those surrounding free speech, faith, and family. On Wednesday, during one of these campus events at Utah Valley University, tragedy struck. Shots rang out, and within moments, Charlie Kirk was fatally wounded. The suspect identified by authorities is 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, a young man whose story is as puzzling as it is disturbing. Investigators and family members describe him as once a promising student, a young man from St. George, Utah, who grew up in a religious household and excelled academically. But in recent years, those close to him say his life began to change. According to Utah Governor Spencer Cox, Robinson's political views had shifted, veering leftward, and his online activity reflected what Cox described as immersion in the dark corners of the internet. Governor Cox explained in an interview on NBC's Meet the Press that Robinson had been delving deep into Reddit communities and similar online spaces, places filled with memes, anti-establishment rhetoric, and, at times, aggressive language aimed at political opponents. He also revealed that ammunition used in the attack bore chilling engravings. One bullet casing carried the phrase, "Hey, fascist, catch," a direct taunt and a haunting insight into the suspect's mindset at the time of the shooting. Now, this raises serious questions. How does someone with a bright academic future, a supportive family, and a seemingly ordinary life path become radicalized? That is what investigators are now trying to piece together. Cox noted that Robinson has so far refused to cooperate with law enforcement. His silence leaves investigators relying heavily on his digital footprint, conversations with his relatives, and interviews with people who knew him personally. But let's pause here, because I want to remind you, this is where the story gets deeper, and this is where I encourage you to stay with us until the end of this video. We're going to look not only at the man accused of this crime, but also at the bigger picture, what this means for online radicalization, for political speech in America, and for the movement Charlie Kirk helped build. Returning to the suspect's story, state records show that Robinson was registered to vote, but listed as inactive, having not participated in the past two elections. His parents are registered Republicans, but Robinson himself was unaffiliated with any political party. In his youth, he had been baptized into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, known widely as the Mormon Church. He even earned a place on the high school honor roll and scored in the top percentile on national standardized tests. By all appearances, he was the kind of young man whose future looked secure and bright. He won a scholarship to Utah State University, and a family member proudly posted a video of him reading his acceptance letter aloud. Yet his time at the university was brief. only one semester. He later switched paths, enrolling at Dixie Technical College, where he studied as an apprentice electrician. Photographs posted on family social media accounts painted the picture of a happy, active young man. One striking photo shows him grinning while gripping the handles of a massive .50 caliber machine gun at a military facility. Others depict him traveling with his family, exploring and enjoying life. These images now stand in contrast to the young man police say pulled the trigger last week. An additional detail revealed by Governor Cox has further fueled speculation. Robinson's romantic partner is transgender, a male transitioning to female. Some political figures have already suggested this connection may explain why Robinson targeted Charlie Kirk, who was widely known for his outspoken opposition to transgender rights and policies. However, investigators have not yet drawn that conclusion, and Cox stressed that Robinson's partner has been fully cooperative with law enforcement and had no idea of any planned violence. As investigators dig for answers, the country has also turned to mourning Charlie Kirk. Vigils were held across the United States over the weekend. In Phoenix, at Dream City Church, where Kirk frequently hosted his Freedom Night in America gatherings, hundreds gathered to remember him. Attendees watched video clips of Kirk speaking about his Christian faith and his desire to be remembered as a man of courage. His words now carry a prophetic weight. During one memorial, Pastor Angel Barnett told the crowd, "The left is nervous because they've lost control. Kirk started that, and we will continue it." His message was one of resilience, urging supporters not to let Kirk's death silence his message. Another panelist, conservative commentator Brandon Tatum, said, "These cowards thought that they could end the movement, but what they really did was make it bigger. They made it stronger." At this point, let me pause once again and remind you, if you're still watching, thank you. Please don't click away. Keep watching till the end. We still have to explore the larger consequences of this story, and trust me, the lessons and questions it raises are critical for every American, no matter your politics. Now, what makes this story resonate so strongly is not only the tragedy of Kirk's death, but the broader implications it highlights. Across the country, people are asking, is the internet fueling political violence? How do ordinary young men and women fall into extremist cultures online? And what responsibility do public figures, political leaders, and social platforms bear when rhetoric escalates to a point where it inspires real-world violence? Governor Cox was careful in his remarks. He made it clear that, in his view, political violence is unacceptable regardless of where it comes from. He said he would be just as outspoken if the suspect were a radicalized MAGA supporter. His message is clear. This is not about left versus right, but about the rising tide of political extremism and the need to lower the temperature of national debate. Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk's supporters are not just mourning, they are mobilizing. They see this tragedy as a rallying cry to continue his work, to grow his movement, and to ensure that his voice, though silenced by violence, echoes even louder in the halls of political and cultural debate. And so, as Tyler Robinson prepares to appear in court this week, America waits for answers. Was this a case of ideology pushed to its extreme? Was it personal? Was it a tragic mixture of both? Investigators will continue to search for the truth, but for many Americans, one truth is already painfully clear. The deepening divides in our society are not just words anymore. They are turning into actions, and sometimes those actions are deadly. Before we close, let me remind you once more, please take a second to subscribe to this channel. It's one small click for you, but it makes a huge difference in helping us keep bringing you thoughtful, detailed coverage of the stories that matter. And if you found value in this story, leave a comment below. What do you think is driving this rise in political violence, and how should America respond? Charlie Kirk's death has left a wound in the conservative movement, but his legacy is already taking root in the determination of his supporters. Whether you agreed with him or not, his story is now part of a larger conversation about the cost of division, the power of rhetoric, and the dangers lurking in the darkest corners of the internet. Thank you for staying with us till the very end of this report.